Hey, what's up everyone? My name is Nigel, and today I'm going to be giving you a really quick review of this. This is the Ulanzi smartphone video cage. So just a disclaimer, Ulanzi did send this out to me, and this thing costs about $60, and they also sent me this wide angle lens for your smartphone as well. But I'm going to start with the cage, and this cage is really hefty. It's like really heavy duty, and it has two cold shoe mounts right here, a 1/4-20 tap right here. It's got a 1/4-20 tap on the side, another one on the other side, and then a 1/4-20 on the bottom for mounting like a tripod plate or something like that. And yeah, this is all one solid piece of metal. And as you can see here, you can unscrew this, and this will allow you to place your phone back here. This thing actually adjusts the lens opening depending on what size of phone that you have. Now I want to say this is a really solid construction, and it feels really high quality. There's very little plastic here except on the knobs, and yeah, it feels like a really solid rig. It says that it supports a lot of different smartphones, and it says that it supports an iPhone 6s Plus, but even though my iPhone 6s Plus does fit in this cage, lens opening here doesn't line up perfectly to use a lens on it, and that's a little bit of a bummer. If I had like an iPhone 7 or maybe the iPhone 8, just anything smaller than the 6s Plus, I believe that it would probably fit in here perfectly. So here's what I mean. You can kind of see that the lens of the phone doesn't line up perfectly in the middle of the cage, and that's a problem. So right now I have my iPhone 6s Plus in the Ulanzi cage, but what I was talking about with how my iPhone 6s Plus doesn't line up perfectly, the lens is like on the right hand side of like the lens opening of the cage. So if I tried to attach the wide angle lens onto the Ulanzi cage, watch what happens. So as you can see, I'm all blurry because the lens of my phone is filming the side of the wide angle lens. It's not directly in the middle. So that's kind of a bummer. But if you have a slightly smaller phone, I think that it would line up here perfectly. And what's cool about this is that you could put a microphone up here on top, you could put a light. It gives you a lot of options to rig your smartphone up and shoot better quality video. And it actually, you know, provides more points of contacts and gets your hands away from the phone so you can get a much stabler image out of your smartphone footage. I do have to say that getting your smartphone out is really easy because you can just pull up on this lever in the front. So the one thing that I will say is another small caveat is what I was really looking forward to doing is putting a filter on here, like a variable ND filter, so that I could more easily control my exposure. Because with smartphone footage, you can't like stop down the aperture. Like the only exposure that you can really adjust is like the ISO and the shutter speed. And so when I want to cut out more light, having a high shutter speed makes my video kind of look weird. So I wanted to put a variable ND filter in front of this so I can control my exposure better. But the only way to really do it is I believe that this is a 37mm filter size, and I have a 58mm variable ND filter. So I thought I'll just get a 37 to 58mm step up ring. And I have that right here, but it can't fit onto there because of this little knob. And so you would have to take this knob completely off, and once you take it off, you wouldn't be able to put it back on because this step-up ring is too big. So I wasn't able to use it in that kind of a setup, which is what I really wanted to do, which kind of sucks because I feel like I could have really utilized this cage a lot better. But I feel like that's just a slight design flaw is with this little knob being right here, because it really doesn't allow you to put anything other than a 37mm filter on this. And even then, I'm kind of wondering if that would work the way it's supposed to with this little knob here. So yeah, that was one bummer and one little caveat. If you're gonna be looking into getting this video rig for your iPhone, you might wanna look into purchasing some 37mm mount filters. So now let's talk about the wide angle. And what was really cool is the wide angle came in a really nice little carrying case. The carrying case holds the wide angle, and they give you a little microfiber cloth, and it also holds the hood that it comes with. Yeah, this is what looks to be like a really high quality wide angle lens for your smartphone. And it actually even came with this little, I believe it's a polarizing filter. So that's pretty cool. But the way this little wide angle lens works is I just attach it like this, and then I get the wide angle and I attach it right onto that mount. And it's pretty easy to line up, and there you go. You have a wide angle for your smartphone. And I did a few tests with this wide angle, and to the naked eye, it looks really good, but if you do pixel peep, this does soften your video and photos ever so slightly. It's definitely a lot better than a lot of those really cheap like clip-on wide angles that you can get on Amazon for like $7. It will soften your image ever so slightly, and that's usually pretty common with these third-party lenses. You'd have to spend like a bit more on maybe something like a moment lens in order to get like the sharpest image possible, but this is definitely a lot sharper than a lot of the really cheap phone wide angles that I've used. So all in all, I would say that this Ulanzi video cage and wide angle lens, they are really well built products. Like, they feel really premium, but there are some design flaws, I believe, in the cage, and maybe a little bit more, you know, research and development needs to go into making the lens as sharp as it possibly can be. And as far as the video rig, I think that it's actually really good as long as you take into consideration that not all phones fit perfectly. So I definitely suggest, if you have a larger phone like my 6S Plus, to look into something different. But if you have something smaller like the iPhone 7, the iPhone 8, or just any smartphone that's like smaller than the 6S Plus, it should work perfectly. And again, if you want to use the filter thread on the front of the cage, you are going to need to invest in the 37mm filters, because trying to get a step-up ring and use your existing filters just isn't going to work. So anyways, I hope you enjoyed this really quick review of this Ulanzi gear. I'll leave links to where you can buy them in the description below. Thank you so much for watching. There's also going to be links in the description to all the gear that I use and recommend. There's also going to be links to my Selfie if you want to buy some $5 LUTs, my Patreon, which for $2 a month you get all my LUTs for free, and my Teespring account if you want to pick up some merch. So anyways, thank you all so much for watching, and until next time, I'll see you all later. Bye.